virtual network. So if we have, let's see, spotlight. So if you see, if we have subscription, right? And it is Azure subscription. And within the Azure subscription, we will create a resource group. Means when we are creating the virtual network, that time it is going to ask what resource group and something. So we create one virtual network in it. And this is a symbol of virtual network. And within that, we created two virtual machines. So if two virtual machines are within a one virtual network, then they can talk to each other. Means no private IP, means they can talk with a private IP, no public IP is needed, and they can talk as if like they are talking in LAN, local area network. So if they are within the one virtual network, they can communicate with each other. So one virtual machine can ping to the other one easily with the IP address, this private IP address given to them. Now, if we have another virtual network, and this is a 10.0.0 virtual network, and this one is 192.168.0.0 virtual network. If we want to communicate between the two virtual networks, and that is in the same resource group and the same region, we can simply communicate by making a peering. So we will see what the peering means. So using the peering, making the peering between them, they can communicate. So now we have also saw the IP address concept in last session. I hope if you need more detail on IP address, then I will conduct another session on IP address, like private IP and public IP. Let me know if you need. And when we are creating a virtual network, and within that we are assigning, means making a couple of virtual machines. So these two virtual machines can talk to each other very easily, and there are 4 virtual machines in this virtual network. They can talk to each other very easily. There is no limitation, no problem will be there. They can easily ping each other. But when we want to communicate between one virtual network to another virtual network, there is a peering need to be done. There is a process need to be followed, and by which, so peering is a concept in Azure. It is also in Amazon Web Services. So there's VNet peering, and there are 2 types of peering are there. We will later come to know. And what is the concept of subnet? We have touched a little bit subnet in last few lecture, but subnet is like this. So remember, if you are creating a virtual network, it is asking to give the address range or define the address range and subnet. So we've given 10.0.0 as an address, and within that we can create a subnet for the 2 virtual machine. And within this is a 24 I have given. That means the last octet is used for creating the subnet. Now, if you see, I have given the subnet number 4 and 5, 10.0.0.4 and 10.0.0.5. Why I had not given 1, 2, and 3? We will come to know. There is a limitation. Some of the subnet address within a virtual network is reserved in Microsoft Azure, and how many are reserved we will come to know in the next slide. And so far, if you also need for subnet calculation, I will be making a video or conducting in the next Friday lecture how to calculate the subnet for a virtual network, and in more detail if you need further, you need me to further talk about it. So far, okay, that we have a subscription and we have a resource group, and within that we create a virtual network. So whenever we are creating a virtual network, we assign it to a resource group. And then within one resource group, these two virtual network can talk to each other. Now, how many virtual network we can create for a particular, so there is for up to 10, 50 virtual network easily can be created, but there is a maximum limit on how many virtual network one Azure account can create in Azure. And how many, there are many various things, how many subnet we can create within one type of, like if I say 24 type, then how many subnet we can create. If it is 16, then how many we can create. If it is 8, then how many we can create. If it is 8, that means only the first octet we are using for network, and remaining we can use it for subnet. So more we can create that time. So is that clear? So now what are the reserved subnet and why they are reserved? So if you go to this link, you will know more detail about it in the fact that, and there are other detail also, what are the limitation of various kind of resources in Azure. And this kind of question, if people know that you know Azure, and in an interview, they may ask you that how many virtual network you can create in a Azure platform, or how many subnet you can create in a one virtual network if the address is this. So you have to remember, this is a trick question they ask. So first address, like if it is 10.0.0.0 as a given IP address for virtual network, this is reserved for network. So that is reserved. So if we are taking this 24 type, so there will be 0 to 255 virtual network we can create, and out of that 5 are reserved. That is 0, 1, 2, 3, and the last one 255. The 10.0.0.1/24 is reserved for default gateway. For each virtual network, we can only create one gateway, and this network address is reserved for that. Then 10.0.0.2 and 10.0.0.3 are reserved for domain name system for that particular virtual network. And the last one is reserved for broadcasting the network address. So these are the 5. If we have /16, then we have more network, and there also 5 will be reserved. And if we have /8, then 65,535 network. So that means 5 reserved, 65,500 and 530 network subnet we can create. So subnet, you can imagine like, so virtual, this 10.0.0.0, which is a network address given to it. If we imagine it as a cake, right? If we imagine it as a cake, then the subnet, so when we have a cake, that means we don't go, if we have a, let's say 8-inch or 12-inch cake, we don't go and eat the cake as it is, right? So in cake, we make slices, small parts. So that's how this public IP address is getting utilized by this making a subnet. And with the same one address range is given, in that address range, small part of the address range is used for various tasks within that virtual network. So in a layman term, you can think like it is a big cake, and in that big cake, small portion is like a subnet within the big cake. So this subnet will have to have the first 3 digit same. Only the last one will change. If it is 16, then first 2 will be the same like the public IP address. And then if it is 8, then the first one will be only same, remaining all can change. So up to this, okay. Now other concept is that network interface card. So network interface card is like NIC. It is a card associated, number associated with the network you have created. So in Azure, you may see, you probably have observed that there is an NIC number is there. So if NIC number get corrupted or error is there, then the communication will not be possible over the internet, over the network. The traffic manager is, there is in Azure, there is a, like if you are hosting, let's say if you are going to Netflix, right? Now, Netflix.com is accessed by many people across the globe, many countries, people accessing. Now, this Netflix.com server is there in US. But if the people from Latin America or people from Asia or from Norway, they want to access the Netflix.com, which the server is in the US, then it is going to take a longer time because they have to go via the international cable, and that is going to cause a delay. Some latency will be there. So what they do, they create many similar server, copy of the same server at different location. Now, the Netflix is hosted on Amazon. Azure also have many server at many places. So they will create the server at different places. For user in the Norway, they have probably have created a server within the Norway, and to give more quick access to northern Norway, they might have put the server in the northern Norway. So that's how. And the traffic manager task is to understand the incoming request coming from which place, so it can direct, okay, if you are from US, go to the US server. If you are from Norway, you go to the Norway server or Europe server. So that is the job of traffic manager. Now, network security group is a very important concept, and by which the security of all the cloud thing we have created can be done much more robust and more securely. So what network security group is we do in a network security group, what will be the inbound traffic and what will be the outbound traffic is allowed. So when someone from within the network want to access outside, let's say you have created a virtual machine, and if you are in a company which has 100 employee, and all 100 employee might have created 1000 virtual machine and they are working on it, you can define that what type of virtual machine, or what there is a resource tag we will know later on, what security group you can assign to a different user, and what they can do. Can they send, can they only browse, can they only do remote desktop connection, can they only do telnet connection or SSH connection? So by defining what port number is accessible to a particular virtual network and a particular virtual machine, this inbound as well as outbound traffic can be very much controlled. So let's say if we define HTTP 80 is allowed, means port number 80 is allowed for browsing or going to the internet website. And if someone want to do file transfer protocol, FTP, and FTP is port number 20, or they want to do SSH, port number 22. So if only port number 80 is allowed, then the people will not be able to, if it is defined for inbound traffic, means someone connecting from outside, then only 80 port number address requests will be allowed to access. If they are using SSH 20 to get into the server, then that will not be allowed. So that is the job of network security group, and this can further improve the security of the cloud server on which the companies are doing businesses or doing their company tasks. Forced tunneling. Forced tunneling is a concept where is a one feature available in Azure where the network administrator can force that this is the only route you are going to use it. So if you have created a virtual machine and you say no, you are not going to use any port number, you are only going to use peering, or you are only going to use within a particular virtual network only you are going to, or from, or you can say that you can only go via the defined cable network of Microsoft. So Microsoft Azure and even Amazon Web Services, they have a way like if you have defined a virtual network in, let's say, in Norway, and you have defined a virtual network, let's say in Asia, let's say in China. Now you can communicate from Norway to your virtual network in China securely, not via the public internet or neither via the virtual private network. You are going to access them via the dedicated cable or leased cable which Microsoft owns, and that goes below the sea. So when that particular pathway is not a secure pathway, but that particular network is dedicated for Microsoft, you can encrypt your data further, but by default, the data are not encrypted. But that particular pathway, you can use it. That's how the network in a different region can access each other. And Microsoft claim that they are very secure and no one can see your data. Data is private and privacy and everything is there. AWS, Amazon Web Services also have similar feature. Their regions are connected to each other via the dedicated cables. Now, regional VNet is the concept I have already said, that you can have a regional virtual network, and those virtual network can communicate with each other with a dedicated cable, not over the public IP or not over the public internet or the virtual private network, because those has a chance that someone can see. But if the dedicated line is there, the only way to access is that someone has to go inside the sea and put the spoofing in the cable, and that much risk I don't think people are going to take. The other concept is a cross-premise network. My animation went off because I wanted to add this slide. So in the cross-premise network, there are three types of it: point-to-site, site-to-site, and express route. So let's see site-to-site premise network. Now we have this Azure subscription, and there we take the previous example. The virtual network is there, and virtual network is here, and resource group is there. Now, if we have this office, we are working in office, and that is want to communicate with this Azure subscription, my resources. So they can do it. So to do that, they have to create a VPN here and a VPN here. So by creating virtual private network here and virtual private network here, the communication can be done. So even someone is outside the subscription, like the private cloud and the public cloud, this way someone can access it. Or there are other way. So point to site is if we are directly accessing with our computer without using the VPN, the other side has to have VPN, then that is called point to site connection. And express route is another topic we will cover in some other class. VNet peering, there are two types of VNet peering. Connecting, if we are connecting virtual network within the same region, that is called VNet to VNet peering. But if you are connecting virtual network across a different region, that means one VNet virtual network is in one region, let's say North America, and other virtual network, let's say in Norway. So if you want to do the peering or connection between them, that is called global VNet peering. So what is VNet to VNet peering? So if we have this virtual network and then another virtual network, and this is in the same region, so what there is a peering functionality is there in Azure. So by doing this, you have to go to this virtual machine and say from this virtual network, you have to make a peering connection to this another virtual network. And when you do it, it is not going to be immediately showing connected. It will show initiated. But when you go to the another virtual network and then create peering with the previous first virtual network, then when this connection will become, then both will show in your resource. You can see, you can try in the colloquium, will show that connected. So by this way, VNet to VNet peering, we can communicate with two virtual network. And for that, we don't need a public IP. Just using this subnet IP, we can directly communicate and do a file transfer, do everything. So we don't have to go to the in the public internet domain. So data will be more private and protected. Now, if you want to do the global VNet peering, that is means if this is a north central region of the where my virtual network is there, and there is North Europe region where another virtual network is there and this virtual machine is there. So to do that, we have to create a gateway. The virtual network gateway we have to create in the both virtual network. And after creating the virtual network gateway in the both sides, then only via the VPN, these two can communicate with each other. So this you can try in the colloquium, this kind of thing, communicating between the two virtual machine, communicating between the two virtual network, communicating across a different region with the virtual network. So those you can try. So in VNet peering, the benefits is like this: the network traffic between peer virtual network is private, so it is not public. And by doing it, the low latency means time to respond, because they are behaving like they are in a local area network. So the time, let's say one virtual machine is saying that, or one virtual network is communicating with the other one, saying that, hello, then other one say hello, or this one say, okay, I love you, then other one say, I love you immediately. Oh, so happy, right? So this is called how quickly you can get a response, low latency. And with this, we get a very high bandwidth connection, because that connection speed is provided by our cloud service provider in their what speed they are going to provide when they are taking the services. It has ability to communicate and transfer data across various regions. So even if our servers are at different places, we can communicate without fearing that someone is going to steal our data, or it is going to be hacked or something. Traffic in virtual private machine, as I said, it goes via Microsoft backbone infrastructure and not through the gateway or over the public internet. Now, if we have created a peering, let's say VNet 1 and VNet 2 has been peered, and VNet 2 and VNet 3 has been peered. So that doesn't mean that VNet 1 can communicate with VNet 3. VNet 2 can communicate with VNet 1 and VNet 3, but VNet 1 is not paired with VNet 3, so they cannot communicate. So peering is not transitive. It is not like A equal to B and B equal to C. Here, A will not be equal to C. Now, if you want to do global VNet peering, the task has been given that you have to create two VNet in a two different region. You have to create two virtual gateway in the two VNet you have created, and then go to the virtual network gateway, add connection type VNet to VNet, and first VNet and then second VNet, and use a shared key which they can exchange between them. A shared key can be anything like, colloquium 3. And so both can share, and you have to repeat the same thing for the second virtual network gateway. And after that, you create, try to communicate with remote desktop connection between this. Now, if we want to do it, to connect between the two virtual network, one thing you have to follow, you have to switch off the firewall. If firewall is there, then there will not be any communication, because if you want to communicate, even you want to do ping is internet control messaging protocol, ICMP. So those are not allowed if firewall is there. So you have to switch off the firewall of both the virtual network. Then only you can ping with each other. So after this,